Alright, let's get into the mentality that Big E is a good world champion. I liked Lashley's WWE title reign. I found it a bit better than McIntyre over the sense of just dominance. Looked legit, always looked like a star, always had realistic ways how to win. In most of his matches, he hasn't had bad matches. I actually remember his matches with Mania, the triple threat match involving McIntyre and Strowman, and Goldberg, even though it was a flop. Just Lashley's not a bad guy, but like they need to think of transitional champions. The whole thing with the brand split is elevating names, and Big E needs to be a transitional champion. You make him over a 5-month reign, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's a flop. They didn't book him right." Well, here's the first thing: you don't make a mid carder most of his career the top guy in your company, because either he's gonna act like a silly Negro, the New Day are never gonna be taken seriously. Who even thinks about still the New Day being top of the card guys if all we know about them is we can't take them seriously? Children don't care about him. Most of the hardcore fan base doesn't give a shit about him. Big E, he at least has more charisma than most of the New Day. I'll give him that. The misbooking that they have is making me feel emotionally invested when he even cashes in. Because there's supposed to be this sentiment of unpredictability and excitement whenever you see a cash in. He comes addressing it on Twitter, and then he comes on Raw, literally being like, "I'm gonna cash in on Bobby Lashley." There, the anticipation is not gonna be there. And thanks that they actually have stock in Big E, you know how fucking short that's gonna be for me to feel like this elicits a reason that Big E needs to be WWE champion. What's the reason why Big E needs to be WWE champion? What's the excitement there? Now look. Doing a whole little power play to garner some of the viewership that are going to be cruising to Monday Night Football, I'm all for it. Hell, they should be doing that for the rest of the year. Trying to actually get a reason for people to care about watching your television product that's been in the ones for the last 3 to 4 years. So I don't mind that type of strategy. Hell, it's that car crash TV that got people to watching Monday Night Raw to begin with. So, if that's fundamenting on why I should watch, it should be our WWE champion. Even though Roman Reigns is technically more of the WWE champion than the Universal champion, if you catch my drift. Like, we care about SmackDown than we do more about Raw. And just eliciting the factoid that Edge is there, John Cena's there, more storylines, and we get better matches. SmackDown already shows a bit more of importance, especially being on Fox, and Raw does being a 3-hour schlop fest full of mid-card matches, and where women main event most of the show, and we get 1.6s. I'm not entrusting Big E. Whenever you think of a world champion, you think of somebody that's going to tone shift your show. Whenever you saw Hogan as WCW heavyweight champion, he changes the way the show is formatted. He changes the way the show is toned. Same thing with John Cena. Same thing with Steve Austin. Same thing with The Rock. Same thing with The Undertaker. Same thing. What are we gonna get over with Big E? Ooh, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Gonna flop around his titties, and then he's gonna just holler in somebody's face, scream around, and only have those segments when you take him serious in a promo. That's literally how it was even for Kofi Kingston's title reign. Because he elicits no excitement factor trying to get new viewers to watch, because you already catch that vibe that you get from him to begin with. That's why Big E struggles to be that's why most of these guys struggle to be top of the line cards. That's what's the same thing what's wrong with Rollins, Owens, Kofi, Daniel Bryan. All of these guys want to force over to the top, but they do nothing to elicit a crowd like The Rock does. That when he comes into the room, you know he's a guy that elicits attention. This guy elicits charisma. This guy elicits why people should turn around whenever he's speaking, because whenever he speaks, it's always going to be something good. It's always going to be something big, and he's always a person with the personality to do it. Whenever I see Big E, he just has floppy tits, he sparks around, he shows that he has some entertainment value about that. I'm not denouncing that. but all he's been doing was just losing over to Apollo Crews. What part of this was screaming that when he was getting his Money in the Bank briefcase taken away off Corbin, that it should be realistic that we should be entrusting him while he's still looking like a schmuck on TV, bro? Y'all gotta be more realistic about who you guys want to just force over to be your world champions before you know over the long run. Were they even good? Were they even memorable? Do I even remember a match? And then we gotta, like, pretend why they deserve to be champion other than they're there. That was the same issue with Kofi King. Hell, y'all could have done the same thing for Mustafa Ali that took an RKO out of nowhere, jobbed out to Samoa Joe, and you guys would have forced them down our throats too, because the fans hijack the way the show was booked, and that shouldn't roll. That's why Raw is struggling to get more and more viewership, because it's always the minority they're trying to force to pander to so they don't lose a group of their fan base, because people would rather see Goldberg kill most of the jobber roster than Big E Dutty whining with the WWE title around his waist, trying to be like, oh, I'm here in Memphis, Tennessee, here to be WWE champion. I know that's how he's gonna get his cheek pop over with the crowd, come over, talk about his opponent for like a few minutes, not elicit his personality, doesn't have his own catchphrase, has no like sentiment into the show to make it feel important. Like, you already see how Big E is, raising over his title and not showing anything that makes him different from the rest. He's just buffer Kofi Kingston with a bit more personality. Now, I hope he proves me wrong, because that does better for pro wrestling if you prove people wrong. But Big E just sucks in that aspect, that he just does nothing to make the show and make a reason to watch. He's a world champion. He should be a reason to watch if he's the best thing going. You think, I want to watch a Chicago Bulls game when the fucking Warriors win the NBA Finals for the 6th time? No, I'm going to watch the best team play that won a championship. That makes zero sense in that regard. Sure, those are those things like you want to see the Clippers, you want to see... The main thing that you want to be watching is the best team play. Or else you're not going to get more casual people. That's how NBA still profits over with their sagging ratings. Same thing with the NFL. Same because they know what should be on the top and what should be on the bottom. WWE doesn't know that now. Because they're a communist booking schlock of a show. We wouldn't be having Big E be world champion at this point. It would still be over the Lashley or McIntyre. Or hell, just force feed it over to Lesnar or Goldberg. Because none of these guys are over that mentality or have any sentiments of being a star. We don't want to see just silly guys all the time. We want to see guys that look like TV stars. We want to see personalities that we want to mimic whenever we watch a show. That's what kind of connects us to more of the characters that we watched over 20 years ago than if we want to be twerking black men and then we force him to be world champion. It's stupid. And most of the time we rant about it, we somehow book better than whatever the fuck the writers have. I'm just highly conflicted how people think this is a good idea and nobody's even headlining or with their shitty little takes over who Liv Morgan's dating, over what the hell are they doing with Big E? What's the plan? What's the long-term plan? You see, if they're not thinking over what in the hell to do for WrestleMania, Big E should already be a transitional champion already. I don't like saying that, because I like Big E, but he's just already so disinteresting as a world champion. And if you guys don't understand that, that's fine. All to you. If you like Big E as world champion, all power to you. Guys, get what you want. Probably had a great night back on Raw when he cashed in. And hell, I'm not going to take that away from you. But watch when they have to do some shit again. And it's forcing over Big E to get more of the screen time. And the ratings go up to a 1.4. And if he's not the reason why people want to watch, then guess what? They're going to change the channel. And that's all business. Other than that, that's it for me, because I'm not going to waste most of my energy on this. But thanks for watching and taking your time to see the video. Hopefully you get to understand my point of view of all this stuff. But for me, I just feel like Big E's gonna fail, and I hope I'm proven wrong about that. Thanks for watching, and Nia Jax sucks.